Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Katrie and you're in for a very fun and special video today. Alright guys, so I'm sure you saw from the title and the thumbnail, but today I'm doing a special video that I've been wanting to do for a while, and I am going to be reading some of my favorite booktubers recommendations. So I basically messaged a whole bunch of my favorite booktubers, and when I mean like a whole bunch, I messaged like 15 different booktubers, I think. And so obviously I was not expecting everyone to message me back, and if so, I would have had to split this into several different videos. But also, you know, some big YouTubers, it's hard for them to see all their messages, and you know, they get to what they get to, so no harsh feelings at all. I'm super excited for this though, and I'm so excited. So we do already have some responses. So the first one to message me back was book lover Amanda. I love her channel. She's such a joy to watch. And so she messaged me back. We're gonna go ahead and read her message right now. It says, "Hey girl, yes, Stay With Me by Becky Jade, When the Day Comes by Gabrielle Meyer, trigger warning for off-page sexual assault, but completely off-page. If you want a different rec here, just let me know, and Land of Silence by Tessa Ashfar." These are some good recommendations. I've heard good things about all of these recommendations, and I've also read none of them, so I'm probably gonna look them up, see what I can get where, and then maybe see which one interests me the most or which one I can get my hands on. So I think I have decided to do Stay With Me by Becky Wade for book lover Amanda's recommendation. I'm really excited to get into this one. All right guys, so we also had another response. I'm gonna go ahead and read hers, and this is Jordan Elaine Reads, also responded back to me. Super sweet of her. She said, "Perfect. My all-time favorite book is A Voice in the Wind by Francine Rivers. It's like a historical fiction, but it changed my life. My Phony Valentine by Courtney Walsh for an adorable, clean rom-com, and PRP with one more. Let me check Goodreads." And then she sent Powerless for fantasy. That gives you options based on the groove you're in the mood for. That is so sweet of you, Jordan. Oh my gosh, she is so sweet. She is so sweet. Thank you so much. I just want to say an extra thank you. Thank you to anybody and everybody who has responded or will respond back in the span of this video. I appreciate it so much. It's so sweet of you guys. I love all of your channels so much. So thank you so much. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to figure out which one of these I also want to read. So okay, so I was looking, and for Jordan's, none of these are easily accessible to me, but we are going book shopping tomorrow. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take these 3 books and see which one I can find, and basically whichever one I can find, I'm gonna get that one and read that one, because honestly all of these sound very interesting and like I would probably like them, so I'm interested in all of them. So we will see which one I'm able to get my hands on though. And then we have one more response for now, and that is Faith's Reading Things. I'm so excited you responded, Faith. Thank you so much. She first asked me if I ever read Finlay Donovan is Killing It. I said I hadn't. She said, "I don't think it has spice. It's a funny mystery, so it isn't like icky or scary. LOL, if that's something that sounds intriguing to you at all. I also recently enjoyed Half a Soul, and Dial A for Aunties was super fun." I haven't read any of these. I feel like this is going so well because I'm not getting like recommendations that I've never read or that I've already read. So let's see which one of these I should read. All right guys, so I really wanted to read, I've heard such good things about Finlay Donovan is Killing It. And I really wanted to read that one, but I couldn't find to where I could get my hands on that one. So maybe if I find it at the bookstore tomorrow, I might pick it up too, but I can easily get my hands on Dial A for Aunties. So for right now, I'm gonna go ahead and put a pin that I'm probably gonna try to read that one. I'm gonna take you guys along with me as I read these books. If anybody else responds, I'll also like put them in the video, but it'll probably just be these 3, which I'm fine with. I think three is amazing. I'm so thankful for you guys for responding, and I think this is plenty for me to read for a video. But yeah, I'll take you guys with me as I go book shopping to see which of Jordan's picks I will read, and then also just as I read and give you all my thoughts. So let's get into the video. Okay, hey guys, so I'm currently reading Stay With Me by Becky Wade. This was book lover Amanda's recommendation for me. I picked this one. It sounded the most interesting to me, and I've heard a lot of good things about this book. So far, I'm about 6 chapters in, I think about 120 pages. I'm reading it on ebook, so the ebook edition is about 400 pages in total, I believe. I'm okay with it so far. Nothing amazing has stood out to me yet, but you know, I'm only like 20-something% in. I don't love that. I mean, she's like a women's conference speaker and stuff, and they keep referring to her as like preaching, and I don't like using that word for women preaching, but then when they talk about it, they talk about like her speaking at women's studies or a women's conference, and I'm like, well, that's not really preaching. So I feel like she's just misusing the word in my mind, and she's not actually meaning what I think she's meaning. But that's been like the only thing that I've just kind of had to like correct in my mind and been like, she's not actually talking about that. So but yeah, seems a little, because I think it's a romance, right? This is a romance. It seems a little bit slow here to get off for the romance part. I'm slowly waiting for that. But yeah, we will see how it goes. I'm hopeful that it'll pick up a bit here, but I'm not bored or uninterested at all. So yeah, that is my little reading update. Hi guys, so we actually got a 4th response from Miss Lauren Jean on YouTube. Thank you so much for responding, Lauren. She replied saying, "Oh yay, I'm so excited. Okay, for my 3, I think I have to recommend If I Run by Terry Blackstock. It's a Christian suspense, crime and poetry by Amanda Flower, a cozy mystery, and A Dark Matter by Blake Crouch, a sci-fi thriller, so good. And I'll throw another in case that those don't sound good. Haha, 8 Perfect Hours by Leah Lusa, a clean, super sweet romance." Aw, thank you so much for giving me all of these wonderful recommendations. Oh my goodness, I've had A Dark Matter kind of like in the back of my mind, on my radar for a while, so I might pick that one up if I can find it. But these all honestly sound so good, so we will see. Thank you so much for participating, Lauren. I cannot wait to read one of these and let you know my thoughts. Hi guys, so I finished Stay With Me by Becky Wade yesterday, and I have since then been trying to find an ounce of time to give y'all a little rundown of my thoughts after reading the book and my rating, and I have been unable to find any time. So my girls are reading while I am cutting up some bell pepper and onion for our pizzas tonight. I like to make, well, I do homemade, but I don't always make the crust by itself. Sometimes I just get healthier pre-made crust, and that's what I did tonight. So I'm just going to talk to you and give you my review while I am working on prepping dinner. So I hope that's okay. So Stay With Me by Becky Wade. This was recommended to me by book lover Amanda. I want to say again, thank you so much, Amanda, for recommending this to me. It's something that's been on my radar for a while, and I'm really glad I did read it. So I came away, and I think I landed at a 3.75 stars for this one. Not my like ultimate favorite. I really did like the romance elements, and I really did like that it had more than just romance. There were like it was obviously romance, but then it was about this one Bible woman speaker or whatnot, and her struggle with an addiction to opiates. And so that's kind of like the main whatever of the story, but it also has like a subplot of like this mystery intrigue around something in her parents' past, which I honestly really, really loved that. I think that was probably one of my favorite things about the whole book. I was very interested and intrigued by that whole side plot line. The Miracle 5 plot line also going on through the book was very, very interesting. Oh my gosh, there's like several baby peppers in this. Do you see this? Oh my gosh, I've never had like that happen to where there's like so many in. That's crazy. All right, sorry. So yeah, I liked that there was so much going on in the story and it wasn't just the romance. I do feel like it was a bit of a slow burn, which I'm not always the biggest fan of that, I found. But yeah, it was a little slow for me. I wish I would have seen a little bit more from the couple. And then one thing that bothered me, and this is like a personal, you know, preference thing, but like the thing that probably bothered me the most about this book was that the author and some people like in the book or whatnot, when speaking of Genevieve, our main character, referred to her as a preacher. And from what I could gather from the information, it sounded like she was, you know, like a speaker at some women's conferences, and she wrote some like woman specific studies. And I'm like, that is two completely different things. So I was a little bit like, I didn't like that the author and characters in the book kept referring to her as a preacher or a preaching, because I'm like, she's not a pastor. But again, that's just kind of like, it was like the language of it that like I really didn't like for some reason and kind of tripped me out. Besides that, I honestly, I enjoyed it, but I did think that that was kind of, I kept like going back like that, you know, why do you keep using these words and saying it like this, and you know, yada yada. But I really liked that subline, that mystery subplot that it had a lot. So that really did bring the rating up quite a bit for me. And I think the ending, I think it ended well and nicely. And I liked the way they brought the faith elements into the end also. And I will say this is the first in the Misty River, I believe, series. And I was very intrigued about the second one with the way this one ended and the way they set up the second one. I was also almost more intrigued with that one than the one I just read, and they had like a little snippet from it. So I think I will probably continue to read this series because the second one seemed even more interesting and just like more up my alley of things I personally like in a book too. I was very intrigued and yeah, just very interested to check that one out. So you know, a 3.75 is not like a bad rating. It just didn't like hit with me the way it's hit with others, but I did enjoy my reading experience, and I'm very glad I read this. And I feel like I might enjoy the second one even more. So I'm definitely interested to continue the series. And, oh my goodness, my hair's falling out. Short hair problems. But yeah, so I'm very thankful to you, Amanda. Thank you so much for recommending me a book. She gave 2 other amazing recommendations too that are also on my radar. So hopefully I can also read those soon, especially knowing that Amanda recommends them, makes me even more interested in them. But yeah, that is my little reading update while I'm chopping my veggies. Alright guys, I'm about to start my next book, and I've decided to go with Powerless by Lauren Roberts. I picked this one up. This was one of Jordan's recommendations. So thank you, Jordan. I am excited to get into this. We need to talk about this book, guys. Hi, guys. It is, oh gosh, what day is it? Monday? Monday. I don't even know when I started this book. And I don't think I've given you any updates throughout the entirety of the book. I have been like ranting to my husband about it, but I don't think I've gotten my camera out because this past week has just been crazy, absolutely crazy with just stuff, and I've been so busy, and this definitely took me longer to read than it would have if I wasn't so busy. But yeah, I finished Powerless by Lauren Roberts. And I understand what everybody's talking about now. Oh my goodness. So first off, I do want to say thank you so much, Jordan, for recommending this book to me, because it definitely intrigued me, the whole giant popular fantasy book, but that did not have spice in it. And so you definitely motivated me to go and pick it up and to get to it quicker. And so thank you so much for that. Guys, I loved this. I was kind of surprised because I'm not normally a big fantasy fan, but I ate this up. I loved it so much. Oh, that ending though. I'm like physically hurt a little bit from that. I think I'm gonna be giving this a 5 stars though, guys. Okay, let me just like clarify something right here. Pei and Kai are like my 2 favorite things. Oh my gosh. And I now understand what people mean, and like when they talk about enemies to lovers and that being like, you know, like such a good trope, and they just eat it up. Like, I understand now. Oh my gosh. I think it's so well done in this book, and I'm seriously debating about talking to my husband, going to get the second one like pretty immediately instead of waiting, because I'm kind of glad that I did wait though, and I like read it to where I can go get the second one, but then I also know if I do, I cannot go get the third one. So if you don't know, Powerless is a fantasy, I guess it's going to be a trilogy, right? Series. It's still coming out. The second one just came out. And when I was describing it to my husband, we came up with like the perfect way in my mind to describe it. And so like this just kind of like sums it up, like the vibes are like kind of like what it's about a little bit. It's like Hunger Games meets My Hero Academia with an enemies to lovers trope. That is what this book is to me. It's basically those two wrapped up in each other in a fantasy setting, because Hunger Games is dystopian and My Hero Academia is not fantasy either. So like in a fantasy setting, it's like Hunger Games meets My Hero Academia with a enemies to lovers trope romance and a fantasy setting, like fantasy-esque world, like, and it was amazing. I loved it. I really loved it. And this book is almost 500 freaking pages, guys. I was like, I almost finished it last night. I was sitting there and I was like wanting to pick up my book to read because I think I had like 90 pages left. And I was like, nope, I'm not gonna do it. And my husband Josh comes in and he's like, oh, you're not reading it? Is everything okay? And I was like, no, I cannot pick up this book right now. If I pick up this book, I'm going to binge read this book. I'm gonna read until the end, and then I'm gonna be up another hour or more, and then I'm going to be like going crazy with the ending, so I'm not gonna fall asleep easily. And I don't want to be up late again because I kept myself up late a couple nights ago. Binge reading the end of a book too, so I've been trying to read more in the evenings, because sometimes we do different things. We've been trying to just like read more together, and I'm just like, I can't if I'm close to the end. Oh my gosh, I can't, because then I have to binge it and it drives me crazy, but I managed to stop myself, and so I finished it up today. Oh my gosh, but this was so good. Like, I'm very interested in this plot. I'm very interested in how the romance goes. I'm gonna say straight up, I don't know, like, because I haven't like really listened in detail about this book since I hadn't read it yet from others, but now I'm like more curious to know what others think. I will cry at the end of the third book if Pei and Kai do not get together. I will cry, and I will probably be very mad at the author. That's just me. So, you know where I am. But yeah, like oh my gosh, the romance alone, even without the plot, I felt like it was a 5-star. But then the plot and the setting and, you know, the way it was set up was like really interesting. So this is our second book from Miss Jordan Elaine here on Booktube. So thank you so much. I don't know how I'm going to go into another book after this one. Maybe I should have saved this one for last. But yeah, we got 2 more books to go, two checked off, and 2 more to go for this video. Thank you so much, Jordan. Hi guys. Please just ignore my hair. It's being all frizzy and weird today. I just finished listening to the audiobook of Dial A for Aunties. This was one of the suggested books from Faith. I think it's Faith Reads Things is her full caption. I'll have everybody linked down below, but this was not particularly the one I wanted to originally check out. I really wanted to check out Finley Donovan is Killing It, because that one has really intrigued me and I've heard a lot of good things about it, but I could not get my hands on it for anything. So this was like kind of my second pick out of what she suggested, and I could get my hands on it, but only as an audiobook. So I listened to the audiobook and it wasn't my favorite. I think it did its job with like being funny and like a comedy. Like it was very funny. The aunties were very funny, but it was also like a little like, I guess I was like, this isn't like anything to like knock the book, but I was like a little like frustrated and irritated throughout it, a little stressed out just because of like how crazy this scenario was and how crazy these characters were being in the scenario. Like, it was absolutely insane. I was like, how could you do this? Like, why would you think this? But it was very funny. It was very funny, and I like enjoyed it. I enjoyed my reading process. Okay, I will say I think I would have enjoyed it a little bit better if I read the physical copy, because this did have quite a bit of cussing in it. It's a lot easier for me to kind of like skim over, glance over cuss words when they're written down versus it being read out loud to me. It also meant it took me a little bit longer to get through this one since I could not listen to it around my children. And then besides that, there was a few little sexual things that I didn't like or prefer. And then there was also a same-sex relationship towards the end that I did not like. And I, you know, again, it's kind of hard to skim over it when you're at an audiobook. So I feel like that was definitely one of the fallbacks for mine. I'm going ahead and putting this at a 3-star because I did enjoy it. It was very funny. I feel like it, you know, it did what it was supposed to do. It kept me entertained, and, you know, like, how on earth is this going to work out for them? How on earth are they going to pull this together? Throughout the story. And I didn't like hate the way that she wrote, aside from how much cussing she used. I think it was a little unnecessary, but besides that, you know, the little things that I don't like to read in books and I try to stay away from, it wasn't a bad book. So thank you, Faith, for suggesting this. I'm sorry I didn't like it more. I really still want to read Finley Donovan is Killing It, though. But thank you so much for giving me recommendations and for being involved in this. I appreciate it so, so much. And now we are on to the next book. All right, guys. And so the last and final book of this video is recommended by Miss Lauren Jean. For this one, I was interested in a couple of these, but the one that I found and was able to get my hands on was Dark Matter by Blake Crouch. So I've heard a couple of people talk about this, and it's kind of like been in the back of my mind of like, curious about that book. So yeah, we're gonna read it and see what we think, and I will let you guys know my final thoughts. Hi guys, so I am 64 pages into this. I'm going into chapter 4 and I'm a little shook right now. Oh my goodness, this like started out just like it barely had a slow moment. It just started out, got right into the nitty-gritty, and I am so interested and intrigued by this. Like, oh my goodness. All right, guys, I'm back and I finished this book. Oh my gosh, guys, this book was crazy. It was an insane ride. Oh my goodness. I was like, I didn't want to put this down. I wanted to just keep reading. It was intense. It was thrilling. It had such a good like sci-fi element. I loved the way this went. Again, I don't read the back. I don't read the summary very often, so everything it said in the summary I didn't know, and it surprised me. I went back and read the summary when I was like 4 or so pages in, I think, and I was like, oh, they would have told me all that if I read the summary. I'm glad I didn't. Sometimes I feel like they give you too much, but it says that it is a mind-bending thriller about choices, paths not taken, and how far we'll go to claim the lives we dream of. It was, wow. Like, there were definitely like a few things I didn't like about it. It's sci-fi in the way of like, you know, science fiction obviously, but like some science fiction I feel like is more like aliens and technology or whatever. It's all this different stuff. This one has more to do with like the elemental like science that like people try to study or figure out type of thing, if that makes sense without spoiling too much. And it was really interesting. I was on the edge of my seat. I was wanting to know where the author was going to go with this, how the story was going to end up. It, while being a thriller and while being a sci-fi, was also a romance, kind of like a love story intertwined throughout like the bottom of it all, pulling all these different elements together. And I liked that aspect. There were a few things with the romance type side that I didn't prefer. But it wasn't like, I don't know. There was one thing that I did not like that the author put in to begin with. I understand why he did. But aside from that, here's a married couple and it does tell of them having sexual intercourse. This is like told of, and it's not really detailed or graphic at all, if that makes sense. So it didn't bother me, and this didn't feel like it was too much for me, but it could be for other people. So I just want to put that in there. It is like told and said like in a certain way, but it's not graphic, detailed at all. So, besides that, a few curse words. It wasn't like super heavy on it or anything. I really like Blake Crouch's writing style. This like, it gave me thrills. This is like the type of thriller that I want. This is like, it reminded me more of Jurassic Park and the fact that it actually took scientific, like, you know, like real, I guess maybe I just like sci-fi thrillers instead of like domestic or psychological or whatever thriller. Oh my goodness. Okay, so apparently I like sci-fi thrillers the most from all of my reading so far, because one of my all-time favorites is Jurassic Park, and that is a sci-fi horror thriller, and I love that. That was like a 5-star. This was not quite a 5-star, but is very close. I think I'm landing on a 4.5 for this one. I loved this. It's very good. I would definitely recommend it to other people. Thank you so much, Lauren, for recommending this to me. Like, oh my gosh. I was not like, I don't know. I guess maybe it's just because I've had some really bad thriller experiences in the past year, but I was a little like, you know, like, oh, am I gonna like this? But because it said sci-fi thriller, I was like, well, you know, maybe I'll like it okay. I was not expecting for this to be so close to a 5-star for me though. Like, it had me so engrossed. I started this yesterday afternoon and then finished it this afternoon. So, you know, basically within a span of 24 hours. I didn't finish it within like one day, but that's also because I started it late. If I started it at the beginning of a day, I probably would have finished it in a day. I didn't want to put it down last night. It was very addicting, very hard to put down. There were some things, like I said, the few things I mentioned content-wise that, you know, kind of, it wasn't like good enough for that to, you know, knock it down to 5 stars, but also the way that it ended for me, I was not expecting it. I will give Blake Crouch that. I was not expecting it. He definitely threw something there that I didn't think he was going to. At the same time, one of the things that he did leading up, like, I felt like I was on the edge of my seat for so long anyway. I was always already very engrossed. It made sense. But then he started putting this really big, like, oh wait, there's more, and there's more, and there's more, and there's more. For any of you who've read this, you know what I'm talking about. And for me, that was fine, but I feel like the thriller still could have been so potent and so well done without putting all of that extra in, that it didn't do a ton extra for me. And then the way he ended it, I did not expect. And, you know, props to him for like surprising me, of course. But I kind of had other ways in my mind that I was like, well, it could go this way or this way or this way. And I kind of liked some of the other ways more than how it ended. So because of those few things, that's why it didn't quite hit that 5-star tier for me, but I still loved it. I would still recommend this to like anyone and everyone and their sister and their brother. In fact, I'm probably going to get my husband to read this because I think he'd really like it too. So yeah, this is a great way to end the video on such a high book. I read some really great books. I don't think anything was below a 3-star. I enjoyed everything I read in this video. So, you know, that's awesome. Thank you so much to all of the booktubers who participated and gave me a book recommendation. Book lover Amanda, I read Stay With Me, and I really enjoyed that. And I'm even more excited for the second one because it seems like a plot that I'd enjoy even more so. And then, what did I read next? Jordan, who recommended Powerless for me. I went out, I bought it, I binged it, I loved it. And it was another 5-star, guys. I'm like, ooh. I was not expecting, I don't know why, but I'm just very picky on my 5 stars, and I've been having a hard time this year, so I definitely wasn't expecting to get a 5-star in this video. So I'm very happy that we did. And then Faith, thank you so much. She suggested Dial A for Aunties. Not the one I wanted to read that she suggested. I still want to read Finley Donovan is Killing It, and if I do, I will definitely shout you out, Faith. But this one was still fun. I was really intrigued. It was very funny. The aunties were hilarious. So it was a fun ride, you know, to listen to. And then Dark Matter, suggested by Lauren. And this one took me on a wild ride. It has been a good video full of very pleasant reads and some top tier reads. So thank you all so much. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And if you don't already follow one of these booktubers, I will have them linked down below. Go run to them. They are precious human beings, absolutely wonderful and adorable with everything that they put out. Such sweet people. Genuinely love and adore them to death. So please send them all your love. And I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day and your week. And I will see you guys in my next video.